The Maqasidic Tafsir.
Where should I begin when I'm starting at the end? Pursuing the higher aim, learning the meaning of every page. Where should I begin when I'm starting at the end?
Another addition to your Islamic education, Maqasidic Tafsir, Healing and Governance, the Transformative Path of Sabah as-Tiwal, written by Dr. Karim Abuzaid. Join Ustadah Laila Nasheeba every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9:30 p.m., streaming all major platforms, channel soon to follow.
And this is what I tell you, a lot of the Muslims today, we really need to focus as Muslims. We have to focus on learning our religion. And I'm talking about the basics instead of focusing on other stuff like politics and stuff like that. We have to focus on learning the basics of our religion. And when I'm talking about the basics, we need to learn what's going to get us through the questioning of the grave and get us into paradise. Every one of us should know the pillars of Tawheed. If I were to ask you the pillars of Tawheed, you should be able to know what they are. The pillars of wudu, the pillars of the prayer, the pillars of ghusl, the pillars of sleep, the pillars of marriage, the pillars of the shahada. These are the things we should know, but most of us don't know. Okay, so tonight we're going to cover in the book the pillars of Tawheed. This is the basics. This is Islam 097. If we were taking a college class, this would be Islam 097. And unfortunately, most Muslims today, especially here in America, do not know Islam 097. Okay? The pillars of Tawheed. Let's see who can tell me. What are the pillars of Tawheed? Can anybody tell me the pillars of Tawheed before we begin the class? What are the pillars of Tawheed? Anyone? I have Arabs in here and I have non-Arabs in here. What are the pillars of Tawheed? Without looking in the book, can anyone tell me? What do you mean you don't know what Tawheed is? This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm talking about. We have to know our audience. A lot of you listen to me give classes on the internet. This is my audience. This has been my audience for the past 50 something years. This is my audience. Okay. So let's go over the pillars. Tawheed refers to belief in Allah. Your belief in Allah. Your belief in Allah. Okay. And we're going to go over that tonight. Okay. And this is how the book looks. Supplication is not a pillar of Tawheed. Okay, intention is not a pillar of Tawheed. That's a good guess, Sister Despin. That's a good guess, but that's not a pillar of Tawheed. But thank you for guessing. That's a good guess. Intention's not either. Okay, Mina, to believe that Allah exists and to believe in his oneness and the Prophet Muhammad, that's not a pillar of Tawheed either. Okay, I want everybody to take screenshots of tonight's class. Okay, because you all should know the 3 pillars of Tawheed. This is a basic. I want all of you women to write these pillars down, take notes, and teach it to your children. Your children should know the pillars of Tawheed. You guys, many of you were born Muslim. Many of you were born and raised Muslim, and you don't know the pillars of Tawheed. Intention, supplication, they are not pillars of Tawheed. All right, let's get started. It's going to be a good class today. All right. Is it big enough? Everybody can see? All right, Tawheed. This is an Arabic term. It's not just a theological point. It is the foundation of the Islamic world view. Tawheed is an Arabic term. Listen to me. I'm going to break this down in plain grassroots American English. You guys listening on Bigo too. MashaAllah, take notes. Make sure you guys are logged in on YouTube so y'all can see this. And feel free to take screenshots of the PowerPoint. Tawheed is an Arabic term that defines how we know Allah, how we submit to his authority, and how we measure every other claim to power, obedience, and value in our lives. This chapter of the Quran, Ar Rad, it does not begin by debating Allah's oneness. It proclaims Allah's oneness with authority. It then dismantles every illusion that dares to compete with Allah's oneness. In this part of our journey, we're going to explore the three domains or the three pillars of Tawheed or Allah's oneness. Tawheed refers to Allah's oneness. Write that down. Allah's oneness. And each of those pillars, you know, they go together. Do you guys understand? They are a fortress. They are a fortress. They are a fortress of our faith. Now, this is the first pillar. It's not intention. The first pillar of Tawheed, write it down. Teach it to your children, women. The first pillar of Tawheed is what I'm always telling you, that most Muslims today, not just in America, but all over the world, most Muslims in the world do not believe in this, but they claim they do. The first pillar of Tawheed is belief in the lordship of Allah. In Arabic, you may hear this term. You may hear people say Tawheed ar-Rububiyya. Rububiyya. Rububiyya. Rububiyya refers to the lordship of Allah. What do we mean by the lordship of Allah? The lordship of Allah refers to the reality that Allah is the one who creates everything. He's the one who owns everything. He's the one who is in control of everything. Okay? And this chapter of the Quran, it presents Allah as the only originator of everything that exists. He's the provider of every living being. And he's the controller of everything that we see and everything that we don't see. If we Muslims today understood that, then we would not be picking up flags, wrapping ourselves up in flags of Gaza, protesting. against his decree, we would understand that this war that's going on in Gaza is going on because Allah created it. Allah willed it to happen. That it wouldn't be happening unless Allah willed it. We would understand that everything that's happening in the world today, good and evil, is happening because Allah willed it. Allah is the creator of everything good and everything evil, including war. Okay? Allah is the Lord of all mankind, jinn, of everything. He is the one who creates good and evil. He owns. I belong to him. You belong to him. You would be able to handle death. That's why Allah says your children do not belong to you. They are gifts. They are temporary loans to us. Our children belong to Allah. Your husband belongs to Allah. Your wife belongs to Allah. We all belong to Allah. From Allah do we come, and unto Allah shall we return. You guys understand? This is the Allah, Tawheed Ar Rad, the Lordship. This is the first pillar of belief in Allah's oneness. That's Tawheed, belief in the oneness of Allah. The first pillar. Most Muslims don't know the pillars of Tawheed. None of you could give me that answer. I have Arabs here. You Arabs couldn't give me this answer, and you come from Arabic countries. That goes to show. Even some of the Arabs don't understand the religion. Okay? It's okay, sisters. You're learning. I'm Arabic too. Don't worry about it. We're okay. My accent's bad. It's okay. All right. Okay. Oh, you don't speak Arabic. Yeah, that's okay. I heard that they're not speaking Arabic anymore in the Middle East, especially where you are in the Emirates. I heard that y'all's first language now is becoming English. I heard. I got relatives over there. But my relatives speak Arabic and English and French too. Okay, so Tawheed al-Rububiyah. You were born in the Emirates and you don't speak Arabic at all? SubhanAllah. Better learn it while you over there. You don't speak no Arabic at all, sister. For real. None. Oh my goodness. And you see that? She lives in the Emirates, born in the Emirates. She's an Emirate and doesn't speak no Arabic. She says she speaks English. Oh, SubhanAllah. That's why she's here learning. Oh, SubhanAllah. Your mother has you here learning? Okay, alhamdulillah, give your mother my salams. Tell your mother teach you Arabic. Your mother doesn't speak Arabic either. Oh, subhanAllah. Okay. All right, so this is the first pillar. Also, Allah command, not only is he the creator, the owner, and the one who governs, and the controller, he also is the one who commands the skies and he commands the earth. He also writes every decree. Nothing happens unless Allah wills it. You can protest against the war. You can protest against whatever. But if all mankind were to come together to stop the war, they wouldn't be able to lift a finger to do anything unless Allah willed it. Okay? He writes every decree. He sustains every heartbeat and every star's orbit. And we're going to examine how this chapter of the Quran reveals this mastery over creation, over provision and fate. And then we're going to expose how Allah's lordship has been violated from the ancient times up until modern times. How today secular claims deny Allah's control in favor of human independence, like we see with all this protesting and stuff. Okay? All right. That's the first pillar. When I ask this question next time to give me the pillars of Tawheed, I want y'all to name. The first pillar is Tawheed or Rububiyyah, the Lordship of Allah. The second pillar of Tawheed is exactly, good job, the worship of Allah. That means that only Allah is exclusive. Exactly. Only He has the right to be worshiped and obeyed and loved. This is why we don't celebrate birthdays. Every time you guys wish somebody a happy birthday or a happy death day too, because we got people that celebrate death days too. Okay? When you celebrate birthdays, what are you doing? You're worshiping someone other than Allah, because that person was born. He's deserving of happy wishes because he was born that day. He's deserving of happy cakes and money and prizes because he was born. That's worshiping something other than Allah. This is shirk. This is associating partners. Because somebody died, you're going to meet on his death day and cook food and read Quran and all of that. That's worshiping somebody's death too. These are actions of worship. This is shirk. We don't do that, guys. This is, a violation of Tawheed, a violation of the oneness of Allah. How many of you Muslims celebrate birthdays? How many of you Muslims celebrate death days? I see it on Facebook every day. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your day, sister. You just celebrated somebody's birth. This is shirk. When you in that grave, you're going to be wishing you could take back all them happy birthdays. But you can't come back and take it away. You're going to be wondering why all your good deeds, all the charity that you gave, all those extra prayers you made, all that sadaqah is bankrupt. You're going to be bankrupt in that grave, and Allah is going to take you and put you in that river of fire because you committed shirk with all them birthday wishes and death day wishes, reading Quran and cooking food because somebody's death anniversary came. Subhanallah. Also obeying others over Allah. What's that fatwa? That fatwa that's going crazy over in America here that the brothers in Texas put out, saying that because you are a professional woman, because you are a Muslim woman and you work as a professional, you don't have to be so rigid in how you dress. You don't have to draw your veil over your bosom. You don't have to be loose in your abaya. Your abaya can be open at the front. Show a little bit of breast. Show the shape of your breast. Show your waist. You can even put a belt around your waist to show your shape because you're a professional. Oh yeah, that fatwa also says you can shake hands if you're a professional, because it's just a professional, it's just the culture of the land here in America. You might lose your job. I've never known anyone who was fired because they didn't shake hands. But they say you could possibly lose your job. Oh, that's the fatwa that the brothers in academia in Texas put out. A woman can be loose in her dress, okay? And all of that, you're going to obey them and let them tweak the Quran, tweak the rules of modesty. You know, you're going to obey these men over a law. This is shirk. You violated, you know, the second pillar of Tawheed. This is associating partners with Allah. Okay? That's what you've done. You've ascribed partners with Allah. Also, we commit this type of sin too, even in our love. We love our children sometimes more than Allah. We'll allow our sons to sell drugs from out of our homes. How many of you sisters have come to me with this issue? My son, Sister Laila, he sells marijuana. He sells meth. He sells crack. He sells cocaine from out of my house. I don't want to put him out because he's my son. So you're going to disobey Allah because your love for your son is greater than your love for Allah. So worship in Islam is more than ritual prayer. It is complete devotion, trust, allegiance, and obedience. This chapter of the Quran, chapter Ar Rad, it makes this claim that the believer's entire life falls under Allah's command. Associating partners with Allah in our time often takes different forms. When we obey man-made laws in defiance over Allah's laws, when we adopt ideologies that contradicts Allah's revelations, or we surrender moral authority to culture rather than to the Creator, this is associating partners with Allah. And I'm sorry, guys, this is going to lead to a bad ending when you enter into that grave. All your deeds are null and void, your good ones. You're going to be that bankrupt person that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam speaks about. And we're going to contrast the blatant idol worship of the past with the sophisticated secular obedience of the present that many of these men and women here in America demonstrate with their fatwas. And we're going to see how both are equally a betrayal of Tawheed today. Okay? Then what's the third pillar? The third pillar of Tawheed. The third pillar, write it down. It's not intentions. It's not supplication. It's the names and attributes of Allah. Okay? Allah's names are not symbolic metaphors, like some of the mystics try to say. Allah's names are realities. His knowledge is limitless. His justice is flawless. His mercy is infinite. His power unmatched. This chapter, Ar Rad, it invokes these attributes not as poetic flourishes, but as evidence that no rival exists in any domain of perfection. Perfection belongs to Allah alone, not to me, not to you, or anything or anyone else. So we're going to talk about how past sects and today's modern reformist trends have distorted these attributes of Allah, how they've reshaped Allah in the image of human preference, and how the Quran calls us back to seeing the world through Allah's perfection, not our projection. Subhanallah. So those are the three pillars. Those are the three pillars of Tawheed that every Muslim should know, but most Muslims today don't know. And why don't they know them? Because that hadith that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us of has come true. We are living in the days of the fitan, the days of the Ruwaybidah. And who are the Ruwaybidah? They can tell you all about the politics of the world. They can tell you all about the baseball teams, the basketball teams. They got a lot to say about what's happening in the world today, but they can't tell you anything about Islam. Ask them what are the pillars of faith, what are the pillars of wudu, the pillars of the prayer, the pillars of marriage. Ask them the Fatiha, ask them the Tashahud. They can't pronounce them. They don't know the basics. Ruwaybida. When the true people of knowledge die, they are replaced with Ruwaybida. They're replaced with life coaches. The sunnah will become forgotten. The sunnah will become abandoned. The sunnah will become replaced with life coaches. Ruwaybida. We have to learn the basics of Islam, guys. Let that other stuff go. So now let's talk about La ilaha illallah. Basic 2. What is La ilaha illallah? This is the statement that shakes the throne. Together, these 3 pillars of Tawheed form the full weight of the declaration of La ilaha illallah. And that translates in English to mean there is no God, no master, no lawgiver, no source of ultimate love or obedience except Allah, which in precise theological terms can be explained simply as there is none worthy of worship, no master, no lawgiver, no source of ultimate love or obedience and truth except Allah. The first statement negates divinity for all else and affirms it for Allah alone. The second statement unpacks that reality. Every claim to ultimate authority, every call to supreme loyalty, every demand for unconditional obedience belongs exclusively to Allah. And this is not a neutral creed. This is a divine verdict that uproots every false claimant to power, to law, or devotion. This affirms Allah's lordship. This denies every rival claim over creation, over control, over destiny. This affirms Allah's worship. This rejects every obedience or allegiance that dares to compete with him. This affirms his names. This demands that we as humans measure reality through his perfection. Again, not human projection. Y'all get that? Subhanallah. Tawheed. This is the core of our belief as Muslims. And it's not a passive belief. Instead, it is an active rejection of all rivals. It is the first anchor, as we spoke about last week, in the triangle of faith, the foundation of all truth, and the thunderclap that silences every challenger who has the audacity to dare to challenge. In this chapter of the Quran, Ar Rad, every verse in this section strengthens this reality until every illusion of shared sovereignty will collapse under the weight of Allah's exclusive right to be worshipped. Subhanallah. So, before we explore the great pillars of Tawheed, we have to first understand how faith or belief in Allah takes root, how it grows, and how it transforms a human being. Because true belief doesn't appear fully formed in the heart. Like I told you guys in my 6:30 class, you know, you don't come into this world like people think, just automatically believing in Allah and worshiping him. No. When the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said every child comes into this world upon the fitra, what that hadith means is we come into the world seeking the truth. We come into the world seeking submittance to Allah. It's the parents that either guides us to that truth, guides us to that submittance or not. So true belief doesn't appear fully formed in the heart. It begins as a spark and becomes a steady flame that lightens every part of the life if we find that truth. And it all begins with certain steps. The first step is wholehearted affirmation. You have to, first of all, believe in Allah. You have to find that truth. And if you find the truth, you have to grab it, accept it, commit to it, and believe in it. And this is a deep, unwavering acceptance. And that acceptance entails accepting that, number one, Allah does indeed exist, not as a theory, but as the living, active creator, that he's the only Lord, that he's the sole creator, the sole provider, the sole owner, and the manager of all that exists. His names, his attributes are unique. That means they belong only to him, and they are perfect. Nothing in creation resembles them, and they reflect his majesty and his perfection in a way that none of us will ever be able to fully imagine. That's the acceptance that has to enter into the heart. Allah alone deserves that worship. This is the heart of the true Shahada. This is the heart that bears La ilaha illallah. That heart accepts that everything Allah revealed is truth. His books, his messengers, his commands, his warnings, his promises, his decrees, all of them are worthy of complete trust. This is the foundation of all faith. Without it, practice is hollow. With it, every action becomes an expression of allegiance, el-wala, towards him. These are the people that have no problem submitting to his will. These are the people that don't revert. Like I tell you, you're not a revert. You're not a revert. These are the people who convert to this new way of life. These are the people who convert to this awakening. Okay? They take on a new ideology, a new way of thinking, a new way of behaving, a new identity, a new lifestyle. They transform into a new, better person. They let go of Jahiliyyah. They let go of past lifestyles. They let go of past behaviors. They submit to the change that Allah tells them to submit to. They wear hijab with dignity, humility, and balance. They let go of sex. They let go of drugs. They let go of promiscuity. They let go of dating. They have no desire. They hate even the idea of reverting back to how they used to be, because their heart has become awakened because they found the truth, and they are in submittance to the will of Allah. They're not reverts, they're converts. Get the English right. If we start calling ourselves with the correct terms, the terminology, nothing in this world will ever resemble anything in paradise, even if it has the same name. You will never revert to being as you were in paradise until you cross the Surat bridge into paradise. You are not a revert. You are a convert. Muslim shahadas. Stop using that term. That's bad English, and it's not Islam. Nothing in this world resembles anything in paradise, even if it has the same name. Subhanallah. That's the first step. The second step in transformation is yaqeen, which is certainty. Once that heart has become awakened and embraced acceptance, it now conforms with certainty, and that certainty is free of doubt. It has affirmed, and that certainty entails removal of hesitation. It is knowing Allah's truth so firmly that no doubt can shake it. It turns I believe into I know. I don't just believe in Allah. I know He is who He says He is. I don't believe He is. I know He is. This allows the heart to stand unshaken in trials, unshaken when faced with temptations, unshaken under cultural pressures. This is the heart that is fed by reflection on the Quran, the study of creation and remembrance of Allah, and living in accordance with Allah's promises, not man's. Man can promise him whatever. You can promise me a rainbow. I could care less. If that promise didn't come from Allah, it's nothing. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam described the sweetness of this state. He said, when a person worships Allah as if they see Him, knowing that even if they cannot see Him, He sees them, that's the sweetness of this state. Subhanallah. So that's the second state. And then the third state is the actual emotional awakening. True belief doesn't stop at the intellect. Once that certainty without doubt takes root, it awakens the heart's deepest capacities. That love, that yearning to get closer to Allah, that hope, that trust in Allah's mercy and generosity, and that fear of Allah's punishment. That's why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in an authentic hadith, you will never be a believer unless you have love, hope, and fear in your heart. All three of them have to be in your heart. If you are lacking one of them, just one of them, you are not a believer. That's why if a person takes their own life, anyone who dies from suicide dies a kafir because he lost hope. You got to have love, hope, and fear. You have to have all three of those components in your heart. Okay? And you have to trust in Allah. Why is it that the Muslims today are failing their tests in life? Because they have no trust in Allah. They're relying on man. They're relying on man to save them. They're relying on man to change the tides for them instead of trusting in Allah and relying on his care in all circumstances. Subhanallah. And these are not passing feelings. These are steady currents that will guide our choices in life. If you have love, hope, fear, and trust in Allah, you'll be able to overcome any trial, any challenge in life. A lot of people look at me, and I'm using myself as an example. This is what we do as Daya. We can use ourselves as an example, not to brag, not to boast, not to make y'all think that I'm something more than I am. I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl in the world. That's all I am. But a lot of people ask me, Sister Laila, how is it that you just a girl in the world? And you've been by yourself for over 33, 34 years. Okay? And you've been able to provide and maintain yourself because I have love for Allah. I have fear of his punishment. I have hope for his mercy, and I trust in him. He's my provider. He's my maintainer. He's my protector. Okay? And he will help me get through whatever I have to face and deal with. Okay? I trust in Allah. That's how I've been able to provide, maintain myself for over 30-something years by myself. Because I'm not by myself. I have Allah. And I have his angels around me. Subhanallah. So these are not passing feelings. These are the currents we need to help us get through the trials of life. They make obedience to him joyful, and they make disobeying him heavy on the conscience. I'm too scared to commit a sin. I'm too scared to fornicate. I'm too scared to do drugs. I'm too scared to drink. I'm scared that Allah is going to send a lightning bolt and knock me out if I fornicate, if I talk to a man, if I do something wrong. I'm too scared. And I got too much love for him to turn my back on him. And I got too much hope to take my soul away, to take my own life. I got too much hope of his mercy to end myself. And that's the way all of you sisters should feel. Okay? That's how we get through the trials of life. And I'm not blowing my horn. I'm using myself and my struggles as an example to encourage you. Okay? Because I'm older than you. I'm 65. Okay? So, the fourth step, this is the action, the living proof of belief. When belief and emotion come together, they naturally express themselves in action. Worship becomes consistent and sincere. Your prayers, your fasting, your remembrance of Allah, and your supplication are no longer burdens, but they are part of your life. A person asked me, oh, how's your prayers? I ain't got a problem with praying. How's your fasting? Fasting ain't no problem for me. I mean, it sounds funny. I mean, I'm 65. I've been praying all my life for 65 years. I've been fasting 65 years. That stuff is a piece of cake. After praying for 65 years, it shouldn't be no problem. After fasting 65 years, I'd be crazy to say it's a problem. I'd be crazy. What's the hadith of the Prophet? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, any man who Allah allows to live to see the age of 50 and he's still fornicating, if he dies, Allah is going to raise him up as a kafir. How can you be 50 years old and you still fornicating? You should know better. Any man who Allah allowed to live to be 50 years old and he still can't make fajr, something wrong with him. I'm 65. I'm too old to say I got a problem praying my prayers. I've been praying since I was 6 years old. Fajr is a piece of cake. I ain't got a problem making fajr. Fasting is a piece of cake. It's part of my habit. Wearing a hijab is a piece of cake. I've been wearing hijab so long, I can't even take it off in the house. It's part of my regular regimen. I'm too old. I ain't no 20-year-old girl. Now, I might have had a problem praying when I was 20. I had a problem making fajr when I was 17. When I was 17, hit it, Latifah. It was a very bad year. I can sing about when I was 17. I had a problem making fajr, had a problem with my grip, probably Isha too. But I ain't got no problem at 65. Fajr's a piece of cake, my grip, Isha, fasting. That stuff is part of my regular routine. That's the young girl problem. That ain't a problem for us old women. I whoop my grandkids' behinds for not praying. Okay, so that's what this is talking about. Worship becomes consistent, sincere. Your prayers, your fasting, your supplication are no longer burdens. They're part of your lifeline. You know, subhanAllah, they supposed to be when you my age. If you got a woman that's 65 years old and she can't make fajr, you better kick her to the curb. If you got a man that's 65 years old and he ain't praying, you better kick him out the house. Character. At 65 years old, 50 years old, 40 years old, your character should be refined too. You should be a person that's truthful. You should be more patient. You should be more merciful, more righteous. All of that. We're supposed to get better with age. Okay? Your choices should change. The lawful should become more beloved to you. The unlawful becomes avoided, not out of fear of the people, but out of loyalty or allegiance to Allah. That's why the Prophet said, any person who Allah has blessed with a long life, he's let you live to be 40 years old and you still drinking, you die an alcoholic, you're going to be raised up as a kafir. Because you live to be 40 years old, that should be out of your system by now. You 50, 40, 50, 60 years old, you still getting high? You're going to be raised up as a kafir. You should have been done with that. You should be over with that. You should be more refined now. You should have allegiance to Allah after all these years of being a Muslim. So again, this is the full cycle of faith, affirmation, certainty, love, hope, fear, action, which is obedience, worship, character. Y'all see the cycle? This is the cycle of life for us. Where are you? You should be able to look at yourself. Look at how old you are. A lot of you were born Muslim. Where are you? Are you still doing the same stupid things? Look at how old you are. You 30, 40 years old. You should be up here like where I am. It's a part of your lifeline now. Wearing hijab, making salat, praying, fasting, doing your obligations should be a piece of cake. That should be a part of your life now. It shouldn't be no problem making your prayers and wearing hijab and doing your duties to Allah. Okay? So why this order is important? Well, If we rush to action without building affirmation and certainty, worship becomes mechanical and short-lived. If we have emotion without action, faith remains shallow. And if we affirm with our minds but never move our hearts, we risk a cold, lifeless religiosity. The Quran nurtures belief in this order. The Quran teaches us to first call the mind to witness the truth, then to plant certainty in the heart, then to awaken love and awe in the heart, and finally to command the deeds that prove sincerity. And from there, we journey through the three great pillars of Tawheed, which is affirming the lordship of Allah, and then the worship of Him alone, subhanallah. And then we know and affirm His names and attributes. Each one of these pillars build on this process of belief. And as we explore these pillars, we have to remember that knowledge is the seed, certainty of faith is the root, love and fear are the trunk, and righteous actions are the fruit. Subhanallah.